Oh, I should check my disk space real quick. 18.9, that's not bad. Yeah, we're gonna want to save that one for last, I think. So we'll go ahead with Alright. Welcome back to the qualifier of Kharak Cup number 9. Last round, last game from that we're gonna watch today, between Descara playing as the Coalition and Hottest Man Ever as the Galzian. Now, Descara in this qualifier, up till now, he's been playing Galzian and actually doing Hottest Man Ever's build, but with the Descara variation, which basically just means it gets out even a little bit faster because he does like quick drops and whatever. The map is Kalash Teeth though, and he's playing Coalition, so I'm gonna say like 98% chance he's going for a. Oh, I'm wrong. Yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be an AAV rush, but actually he's putting all 4 on CU, so that means it's probably SC first. I'm so good at this, guys. I should just not even try. Well, we know what Hottest Man Ever is gonna do though. I mean, I was gonna say like, oh, that's rude. Look at the way that he's gonna do this like this AAV rush build against this guy, but he's not. Now, the reason AAV rushes work very well on this map, of course, I think I mentioned it in the last video, is because the rush distance is very, very small here. So you can get them out, you know, as fast as you always do, but then they're going to get to the opponent's base, like, really quick. I don't know exactly when, but I think it's, like, possibly even as fast as the 2-minute mark that they can be there. It's something heinously quick like that. Now, doing Hottest Man Ever's build, we can manage to get Assault Chip Tech on the way at like the minute mark, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. It's very quick. Hottest Man does it a little bit slower, so you can see he has the resources for it right now, just they're in the salvagers, they're not in the bank. But once he finally gets there, then he'll click on it. So what time is it right now? Like 1:15. So that's very quick to get the tech on the way. And he'll be building his first assault ship at about the 2-minute mark here. I'm talking about the builds a lot because I feel like there's a lot of thinking that goes on here when Descara plays. He's a very like cognitive player, you know what I mean? So it's nice to like just think like, what is he thinking? Like, what is he planning this game? You know what I mean? I always find it like a bit interesting. It'll be no surprise for him that Hottest Man Ever is doing this build. He does it every time, so he's definitely gonna see this coming. Not sure how that production cruiser headline aside on the probe there, but it does take a couple more shots down to 60 HP. Yeah, so I mean, Descara definitely knows it's coming. He's not going to flirt with AVs at all. Just going to go straight into railguns. And the only thing he needs to watch for is that he needs to have some kind of cover against the strike craft. But he's going to secure that with this base runner right here, which goes ahead and puts down a turret. And this should be a very safe defense here. This is a build that's hard to pull off against the Coalition in general if they know what they're doing, so I'm not really surprised to see Descara handle it nicely, but I must admit I am kind of surprised not to see him go for an AAV rush, because I feel like that would be even deadlier, especially just because of what map this is. Because, you know, if your opponent's PC is here, that's great, they can make units on the front line, unless they don't have any money, right? And the AAV rush can be really oppressive that way. Well, I think we know what's building in there, even though the production tab won't tell us. Or wait, no, what? What? He's making a salvager out of this thing. Curious. Most curious. Well, you know what I'd say about Hottest Man's play? I think was it the last tournament that was his first one, or was it the one before that? I can't remember, but he ended up, yeah, I think it was just this the last tournament before this one, where he ended up, like, I think in the quarterfinals. He placed third in the qualification bracket, right? I think the reason it worked is because he was very gutsy. He was just like, we're gonna go for this, and it's gonna work, you know what I mean? I think this tournament he's been a lot more, like, afraid, almost. I think he knows how powerful railguns are, and he really does not like railguns. I think that's common knowledge. But I think that he kind of has, like, done a bit of a knee-jerk reaction here to where he's still trying to play his opener, but then not his style, really. He should watch some of Descara's replays and see what he did with like air after the off the back of the assault ship push, and just try to do that, because you know that is still very effective, and it's a very unique style that he has. It'd be kind of sad to see him lose it because he's kind of too afraid of railguns. Of course, now it takes a long time to master like using air as well. I mean, I'm very bad at it, for example. There's players though like Catharsis and I know Empty Soul uses it a lot. Tomcat Zeno, who are like very well known for using air. And actually, it's interesting to note, Descara used to be that way. I mean, it used to be that like when you were playing with Descara, you'd get anti-air immediately because you knew he was going to do it. I think that's actually even quite recently it felt that way. But he hasn't really been doing air very much recently. But yeah, air is definitely a skill to learn, but I think because Hottest Man Ever is pretty good with those assault ships already and has a build that involves them, he ought to invest the time into learning how to use air really effectively and see if he can make that his kind of unique playstyle, where like I'm gonna go for this assault ship push, and then I'm gonna follow up with an air transition. Descara should be fine here. He's got 2 turrets set up, which is a lot of investment, but it's definitely paying off because the army is right here. And he's got enough railguns here that he can fight his opponent's railgun force, so I don't really see any situation, to be honest, where this force is going to be able to push in. Certainly not with the way that they're producing, just one at a time like this. Descara is worried about losing that support cruiser, so you can see him backing that away. But once he builds up enough railguns to where he feels comfortable, he's going to push in there and just smash them out, I think. Probably he ought to just get the mag accelerator right now. That was a bit messy. He sort of just lost a railgun there for nothing. Not the most convincing hold I've ever seen from Descara, but it's still going fine. And now that he's finally attacking the railguns with his rails, he's gonna take this very convincingly. And he's suffering from Coalition Stealth Rail Syndrome, is Hottest Man Ever. What I mean by that is that heavy railguns have a fire rate that's high enough that they're always in vision. The Coalition rails come in and out of vision as they fire because their fire rate is so much lower. Which you'd think is like a sick diss of Coalition railguns, like, yeah, your fire rate is so low I can't even see you between shots. But actually what it means is that the micro to take a rail-on-rail fight as Galzian at that range is like insane. You have to like take your guys, give them a control group, and like every half a second be like, group 2 attack these, group 2 attack these, group 2 attack these, over and over again. It's very annoying. I'm not the biggest fan of it. That's one thing that's addressed, I think, in both patches. I know it's in A-Game's patch at least, but not in vanilla though, and that's obviously what we're playing here. So it looks like Descara just went ahead and switched the position of the support cruiser there. And probably, I guess he's got 2 choices here. He could honestly win from the momentum at this point, I believe, because he's got so many railguns off. Or he can just go for a third base, play it safe. And I think knowing Descara, he'll probably play it safe, but he's definitely still going to get some use out of this army here. So I'd expect we'll see a support cruiser pretty soon, but remains to be seen. He may just recognize how far ahead he is and go for that instead. Yeah, maybe he is, because he's still making units here. And Hottest Man has gotten refiner mode. He's up on this location here. Not yet mining from it, actually, but... Oh, I didn't notice what happened here, by the way. For some reason, all these salvagers have, like, exodized? Is that a word? They've left the main base location. Not totally sure what he's planning on doing there, especially because his carrier power is still pretty low. And powering up the weapons here, he's never going to be able to get a shot on the railguns, right? Yeah, so it looks like Descara gonna just use his momentum here to take the game. And he definitely can. He's got the rails for it, yeah. You can see how on top of things Descara is by this, you know what I mean? He's like, now attacking a sand skimmer. Things happen. But, you know, he was like attacking the carrier until right before these guys popped around the corner, and then he like changed target onto them. Actually, he took a lot of railgun losses there that he shouldn't have, just by having those guys attacking the sand skimmers. Railgun wars, man, they're one of the most unforgiving things in RTS that I know. It's like, if you mess up, you lose. It's very quick. Anyway, hottest man ever is going to choose to surrender right there, and that is going to be the game. What we would have expected, but, yeah, like I said, I think hottest man ever is just not quite as confident as he was before. I'd like to see him just get that confidence back, you know, go for the assault ship build really all the way. Obviously, I mean, you can then transition into railguns, that's not wrong, but I don't think it's really his style. I think if he watches Descara's games with, like, the air transition off the back of it, that's kind of more like what he would want to be doing. And he was good at it. He still is, you know what I mean? Also, it's a common trend you'll see that when he does get a successful entry with the assault ships, he doesn't, like, send them in. He keeps them back with his production cruiser. Probably hoping, like, how do you say, like, I'm going to get value out of this anyway, I might as well just not lose them, but that's not really true. The more salvagers you kill, the much better off you're going to be. You know, because if you lose the assault ships, then you lose the assault ships, but if you kill the salvagers off of your opponent, then they can't make anything to deal with you. So essentially you gain, like, much more than you would lose by losing the assault ships, so. No, yeah. It is how it is. But yeah, I'm excited to see Hottest Man's plays in the future, see what he chooses to do. At any rate, I believe he will be in the, I believe he will be in the upper bracket, but I have to actually check that. I don't really want to. We're going to find out tomorrow anyway. So I'll catch you guys then. Or no, not tomorrow, but a while later. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed the qualifier section. You know, this tournament had a unique setup where we're going to have a lower bracket and an upper bracket. I'll cast the lower bracket first because everyone knows you want to save the finals for last, yeah? And then we'll get to the upper bracket probably starting about next week then based on how the timing works. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.